Hello and welcome. We're here to talk about a pretty big shift happening in urban planning. It's not just about new software or gadgets. We're going to dig into how things like data, technology, and especially AI are fundamentally changing what it means to be a planner and the value you bring to the table.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of everything we're discussing today. It's the big takeaway right up front. The planners who are going to thrive are the ones who can blend that classic, irreplaceable planning judgment with real data know-how and some hands-on experience with AI. It's not about man versus machine. It's about the powerful combination of both.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with how the profession is transforming, then zoom in on AI's role. After that, we'll look at the actual career paths out there, the skills you'll need, how to build your career, and we'll wrap up by talking about what it means to be a truly future-proof planner. So, first step, a profession in transformation. Let's get our bearings and really understand the landscape as it looks right now. So, if you look at the job numbers, you'll see some modest, steady growth. But that's not the real story, is it? The real action is in how the job is changing. Technology, we're talking GIS, big data, AI, is completely shaking things up. It's changing what clients and communities expect from you, and it's even creating brand new specialist roles that didn't exist a few years ago. Okay, let's talk about AI specifically. And this is a really important point. We're talking about augmentation, not replacement. The idea here isn't that AI is coming for your job. It's about how AI can become an incredibly powerful tool to make you better at your job. This comparison really spells it out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the stuff AI can automate, the routine data cleaning, the initial land use analysis, generating scenarios, the grunt work. But look at the other side. By automating that, it frees you up to focus on the high-value skills that are uniquely human. We're talking about nuanced stakeholder engagement, tricky negotiations, making tough ethical calls, and real creative strategic thinking. That's where a planner's value is going to skyrocket. And this shift is creating some fascinating, brand new hybrid roles. Think about it. Urban data scientists, digital twin specialists, smart city integrators. These are jobs that need someone who can speak two languages, the language of urban planning and policy and the language of data engineering. It's a whole new frontier.
Okay, so with all this change, what does a career path actually look like now? Let's explore the main routes, public, private, and the more specialized tracks.
All right, the public sector. This is and always will be a huge part of the planning world. But look how technology is changing the game even here. As a junior planner, mastering GIS and urban analytics isn't just a nice to have, it's your ticket to making a real impact faster. And as you move up, say to a senior or director role, your ability to communicate what the data is telling you to decision makers, that becomes absolutely critical. It's how you build a compelling, evidence-based case for your policies. Now, let's switch gears to private consulting. Here, the impact is even more immediate. It's all about competitive advantage. Using AI tools means you can run feasibility studies faster. You can model out complex scenarios for clients in ways you just couldn't before. If you're the person who can bring that data-backed advice to the table, you become incredibly valuable, not just to your clients, but to your firm's bottom line. Then there's the specialist route. And for those of you who love to get deep into the tech, these roles are absolutely booming. We're talking about being an urban data analyst, using Python and SQL to do some really powerful spatial analysis, or getting into something like digital twin engineering, which is basically building a living, breathing virtual model of a city to test out ideas. These are the jobs at the bleeding edge of the field, and they are in very high demand. And it doesn't stop there. These skills open up a ton of other doors. You'll find opportunities in design firms, with NGOs doing international development, in academia, and even in the startup world with prop tech and city tech companies. The field is really broadening. So, what exactly do you need in your toolkit to succeed today? Let's break down the essential skills. Okay, look at this matrix. Your core planning knowledge, land use law, public consultation, and your soft skills. Those are essential. They're the bedrock. But the real power-up comes from adding these high-value technical skills. And I want to point out that AI familiarity bit. This is key. It doesn't mean you need to be a coder building machine learning models from scratch, but it does mean you need to be a savvy consumer of them. You have to know what questions to ask, where the model might be biased, and how to translate its output into a real-world, community-focused plan. This chart gives you a nice visual breakdown. As you can see, the core competencies are still the biggest piece of the pie. But look at what's happening around it. When you add up the soft skills, the GIS skills, and the data literacy, that's a huge chunk of the modern planner's profile. It's not one thing or the other, It's the integration of all these pieces that really defines success now. Okay, this is all great in theory, but how do you actually put it into practice? Let's talk about building a real career trajectory with an actionable roadmap. You can think of a typical career path unfolding like this. You start out in those first few years really mastering the technical fundamentals. Then, with that foundation, you start to specialize and lead smaller projects. From there, you're ready to manage bigger, more complex teams, and ultimately, you're in a position to influence and lead at the highest levels of policy and practice. So here's a concrete plan you could start tomorrow. Over the next 12 to 24 months, first, do an honest audit of your skills and take a course to fill any gaps. Next, get your hands dirty. Learn some basic Python or SQL and apply it to a small project. While you're at it, get involved in a professional body. Then, find a way to contribute to a smart city or analytics project and get it documented. Finally, you package all that new experience, update your portfolio to show off those data-driven results, and start targeting those new roles. All right, let's pull the lens back for our final section and think long-term. How do you position yourself to be not just relevant, but essential for the next decade and beyond? The trend lines are pretty clear. In the next 5 to 10 years, those hybrid planner data scientist roles, they're going to become the norm. Using AI for scenario planning won't be novel, it'll just be how things are done. The people with the most options will be those who can operate at that intersection of data, governance, and communication. And to be blunt, planners who stick only to the old procedural playbook are going to find their careers progressing much more slowly. But look, this isn't just a technical challenge, it's an ethical one. As we bring these incredibly powerful AI tools into our work, we have to keep asking this question. How do we make sure our planning process stays transparent? How do we ensure it's equitable for everyone in the community? How do we maintain accountability? This is a huge responsibility for the profession. Which brings us to our final thought, and it's a powerful one. If you want to future-proof your career, the single best thing you can do is invest in the skills that AI can't replicate. That's your human edge, your ability to communicate, to navigate complex ethical dilemmas, to build consensus among stakeholders. In a world augmented by AI, those are the skills that will truly set the best planners apart. That's what excellence will look like.